Well, let's take a look at what Hancock said about how sorry he is. He's been apologising for almost everything for the last year.
I'm profoundly sorry for each death that has occurred. And I also understand why, for some, it will be hard to take that apology from me. I understand that. I get it. But it is honest and heartfelt. And I'm not very good at talking about my emotions and how I feel. But that is honest and true.
He's just a phony, Hancock. Absolute phony. Honestly, I just think he's an actor when he puts on this stuff. We saw it when he went in the jungle. We've seen it ever since. The fake tears he shed to me on G&B about vaccines. And let's get to care homes for a moment. This is a guy, of course, who repeatedly boasted about the protective ring of steel that he had put around care homes. This is what he said about care homes today.
We didn't even have the data, and this is the work that was ongoing before the pandemic, which is why this statement here from The Guardian, reported from The Guardian, is inaccurate. There was work ongoing to try to find out even the basics of the provision of social care. For instance, how many care homes are operating right now in the UK? That was a fact that we did not know.
Well, let me come to David Crabtree. David, we've spoken many times since the start of the pandemic, during it and after. Hancock had always said he put a protective ring of steel around the care homes. He also, at the start of the pandemic, boasted how well prepared the country was for this kind of pandemic. Neither of those things were true. And today he basically admitted he hadn't got a clue about what was going on with our care homes, and it was terrible. What's your reaction to that?
I'm hopeful that this is the last time that we see this individual in public, other than on a pantomime playing the villain at Christmas. He's such a self-serving, lying, inadequate sociopath. He should be sponsored by Kleenex tissues. Every time he appears in public, the brain then goes back to those awful, awful times where not just the elderly, this was dedicated social care staff, unprotected, which he then said we had a ring of protection around. The man's deluded. He believes what he's saying, therefore he can create this emotion within himself, but it's a lie. And I just wish now that this is an end to it. The poor families who lost, we lost care staff, we lost social care staff, we lost dedicated NHS staff. The man was not fit for purpose. He was the primary man who was supposed to look at the contingency plans. And he believed some rumour that we were the best in Europe. Who told him this? I have no idea who told it, but shouldn't he have checked? Shouldn't the captain of the ship have checked before we all sank?
Yeah, I completely agree.